Hi, I'm Christopher Dunn again. This is HandmadeInVermont.com, and today we're talking about the Hubbardton Forge Bow Semi-Flush. This is the 12-1140, and this is the smaller of the two sizes. You can check out the larger one too. Lots of other bigger bow fixtures as well that use fabric, good for dining room tables, entry halls, all kinds of things. I want to talk about the size of the fixture itself, and we're going to be talking about the overall height on it. 17.9 inches on this one is going to be from the ceiling to the bottom of the fixture, and it's going to encompass that one loop of chain plus the canopy that goes on your ceiling. And it's important to know that because on a lot of other Hubbardton Forge fixtures that hang from chain, we usually just talk about the fixture body down below and then chain later on. But in this case, it's going to be encompassing the whole thing. Canopy, ceiling, all the way to the bottom of the fixture. Diameter is coming in at 9.8. So up on the ceiling, you're going to have that canopy. That is going to be 5 inches in diameter. It's going to go over your standard 4-inch junction box. I want to show you a little bit more information about that, and a good way to do it is to look at the installations instructions now. So if you were on the page for this on Handmade in Vermont, look over on that side of the screen. Midway down, you're going to see a link. It's going to say click here for installations instructions PDF. So open that up for me. It's going to show you a full parts list. It's going to show you have glass, you've got the fixture body down below, piece of chain, canopy, and there's going to be some good line drawings of that canopy and the inside of that canopy, the top of it, and how it goes over your standard 4-inch junction box. So always take advantage of that if you can. Now let's jump into glass really quick on this. You're going to have 3 different options. Opal is an opaque white glass, and I'm going to talk more about opal glass later in this video. And then you're going to have clear glass, and that's going to be crystal clear. No ripple, no air bubbles. You'll be able to see your bulb. Just remember that. There'll be a housing over this part of it, so you don't have to worry about that part. But the other one is going to be called water. And water glass is a very pretty glass. It's actually a clear glass, no air bubbles, but it's going to have ripples going through it, kind of like running water. It's really running water in a stream. It's even more like that. So that's very pretty. So that piece of glass is 8.3 inches in diameter and 9 inches tall, and that's going to give you kind of an idea about the size of the fixture body down below. An important thing about that, even though a lot of people are going to be using these in places like entry halls or foyers, people will also want to use this over kitchen islands, and I think this is a great fixture for that. And part of the reason is it's a nice size fixture. It isn't too big, and it can accommodate, depending on what you're doing for glass, all kinds of different bulbs. So I can pump a lot of light out of this if need be. I can create task lighting. Task lighting is the lighting that's going to come down on your counter, be able to see what you're chopping and doing all that good stuff. The caveat to all that is this is only going to ship with enough wire to get you to that 17.9 inches tall. Remember, we talked about that a second ago. In a lot of the times when we're doing kitchen islands, we want to kind of vary this according to what's going on. Maybe you have a view going on. If you're going to be doing one of those clear glass things, you don't want to necessarily have this in your line of vision. Maybe you want to have it higher up. So some people may do this just as is and have it kind of high up and have a clear glass and not have to worry about the glare from a light bulb. So that would work higher up. But if you have a tall ceiling and you want to kind of bring these down into view, that's where you might be wanting to look at a opaque glass like the opal glass. But in that circumstance, we're going to have to do what's called a custom. So a custom is going to be taking this fixture and do a custom overall height. And you would basically tell me what you want from the ceiling to the bottom of the fixture, and I'm going to figure out how much chain and wire you're going to need. And we'll even overshoot that a little bit to make sure you have some wiggle room just in case you want to bring it down during your installation. So you would just email me and say you're looking at a 12-1140. And I want to use this over my kitchen island, and I want it to be 36 inches long or whatever, and it's going to be a solid number. But again, you can always take links of chain out and cut the wire, and again, we'll overshoot it by a little bit. But one way to figure out how large this is to kind of maybe take the coffee can or maybe a piece of paper and make a kind of a tube out of a piece of paper and staple it. And then if you make that in a 9-inch diameter, in about, well, we know the height of the glass is 8.3, but you can add on to that. Let's say about 12 inches or 13 inches tall. You can always hang that by a string, right, over your kitchen island. That'll give you an idea of if the size of this fixture is appropriate and the overall height and where you're going to have it above your island. So you can do all those things. It's very simple. It's also only 4.8 pounds, so it's really light. It's just going to hang again from this, your standard 4-inch junction box. Why don't we talk about lamping on this? And it's going to be very versatile. A couple things to know, one of which is the bottom of this does not have a diffuser. So you're going to be able to get, like I said before, unobstructed task lighting out of this. Light's going to go straight down. However, the diameter is only 9.8. and the glass itself is only 8.3. So it's only about yay big. So if you're looking up at this from anywhere in the room, you're not going to really be able to see those bulbs. You don't have to worry about that unless it's clear glass, right? But as far as being worried about the diffuser or no diffuser, you would have to really get underneath it to kind of look up and see if there was a bulb there. So you don't have to worry about it. And the opal glass, if you go there, will just completely cover pretty much everything. Now, going back to the idea of what's in this, you can use up to a 100-watt bulb if you still want to do an incandescent, and they're out there. But, and that's going to be the limit because of the heat generated by an incandescent bulb. It's going to be using just a medium-based socket. This is a standard socket. Lots of great LEDs, including these kind of things. So this is just a standard phosphorus clear LED, and I have these easily up to 100 watts. I pick them up and I use them in my showroom, 100-watt equivalent actually. But there's also some kind of cool bulbs too. So if you're going to be using the clear glass, the water or the clear, and you're going to be able to see it, you may go for something like this that has a little point on it that looks like Thomas Edison made it for you, the Edison bulbs, because that could be kind of interesting. But if you're going to be using opal glass, then it's game on. You know, you can put it whatever you want in this, and that's where you can really pump great light out of this fixture. You can stick with an A19 bulb, that's a standard size, but this will accommodate a bigger bulb, an A20 and an A21, so you don't have to worry about, like, we'll be able to see it. You're going to be using opal glass on this, and you could go for any of these types. So, you know, the A19s, like I said, I found them in 100-watt equivalent. I've actually seen them in 150-watt equivalent on Amazon, but when you get into the A20s and the A21s, now you're talking 150-watt equivalent, 200-watt equivalent. I've seen this as a 300-watt equivalent. So just think of how much light you can really light a kitchen or any room with that. So it's good to go with all of that. The color of the light they're going to offer these to you is really going to vary, and I talk about it in all these videos. They're going to offer these to you in 2700 Kelvin, that's a super yellow light, but they're also going to offer them to you in something called daylight. And just remember, daylight is not a warm light like sunlight. Daylight is that cold hospital waiting room, convenience store, overcast day, bluish white light, and that's 4,000, 5,000 Kelvin on that Kelvin scale. What I like to use in my showroom, talk about it all the time, is going to be warm white, soft white, and that's 3,000 Kelvin. When you look at this desk, that's what's coming down on here from these warm white, soft white, 3,000 Kelvin LEDs above, and it's probably one of these guys that's up there. So that's what you probably want to zero in on. In any case, if you're doing the LEDs, definitely go for a dimmable version of that bulb. I want to touch base on Hubbardton Forge's opal glass for just a second. So all of Hubbardton Forge's glass to begin with is going to be hand blown. This piece is hand blown first in clear, then they're going to come in and they're going to blow another layer of white glass on the inside of this. The third step is they're going to take and they're going to sandblast the whole thing on the inside and the outside. That's going to give you this beautiful, mellow, translucent, milky piece of glass. When you look at this and you can see the layers are actually piled up on the inside of this. Hubbardton Forge is very obsessed about details on all of their pieces, including their glass, and that's why you're here, because you're probably just as obsessed about little details as well. Let's get into metal finishes now. If you are on the HandmadeInVermont.com website, look over in the red tabs with the pictures in them over there. You're going to see a Finishes Help Guide tab. Open that up for me. It's going to be a video there of me talking to you guys about the differences in Hubbardton Forge finishes, how they can look on different types of forging. I'm going to be referencing a chart just down below. So scroll down a little bit. You're going to see a chart. You can click on that chart. So you can click on dark smoke. You can click on soft gold. Doesn't matter. Big page will pop up showing you lots of different things in that finish. You can go back to the chart and you'll notice there's letters A's on them, letter B's on some of those things, and that's going to be showing you this range of variants that you can expect to see on different translucent finishes, but I'll talk about all of that in the video, okay? Okay, showroom. Our showroom in Vermont has over 400 Hubbardton Forge fixtures. This is the biggest showroom in the world of Hubbardton Forge. No other showroom is like this. Hubbardton Forge doesn't even have their own showroom. They use this one. What's on display? We have a great tab on that. In those same red tabs, you're going to see a What's on Display page. So open that up. It's going to show you everything we have on display, and including which finish, which shade, all of those things, and what kind of glass it's on there. We're open every day except Sunday, 11 to 6. I'm here every day except Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have an amazing clearance center. Clearance center stuff is 75% off MSRP. It's returns, discontinued stuff, showroom samples. You have to come here to use it. Can't call us or email us about it, but it's definitely worth coming in to look at if you're in Vermont. Plus you want to use the showroom anyway because there's just so much great stuff here to see. Our number in Vermont, 802-446-2400. You can email us 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Love to answer emails, and it's sales@HandmadeInVermont.com. So when you order from HandmadeInVermont.com, shipping is going to be free to every state except Alaska and Hawaii. No tax if we ship out of the state of Vermont. And we're the only dealer with 90-day returns, no restocking fee. Nobody else does that. Some larger items are going to be non-returnable. It's going to be really important that you are looking at the fixture on that page and kind of scroll down under the description. It'll tell you if that is the case. And that's usually for really big, giant, huge fixtures, mostly that go out on pallets. Okay. That's it. Rush program. Let's talk about that. So rush program, Hubbardton Forge generally takes about 3 to 4 weeks to go out the door. That's production time before your transit time. You always have to add that on too. We offer a rush program that takes you from that 3 to 4 weeks down to a little under 2 weeks. It's a very small addition per line item. So if you have like 1, 2, 3 items, like let's say 3 or 4 outdoor sconces, and they're all the same size and they're all the same finish, that's one line item. So it's very inexpensive to rush those kind of things. Don't be afraid to email us and ask about that. Okay, so that's really it. If you guys have any other questions, let us know. We would love to see you in our showroom sometime. And thanks for stopping in.